The instrument panel of the S-Class Type 221 must be removed. The first step, slide both seats back as far as possible. Since for the removal of the instrument panel you need one thing above all, lots of space. Therefore, move the steering wheel all the way to the back and down. In addition, all accessories must be off, as well as the ignition. Make sure that all onboard power is really off, switch the ignition into position 2, wait 30 seconds and then switch off again. Leave the transmitter key in the EZS. For safety reasons, disconnect the cable from the battery in the engine space on the right. Please follow the prescribed safety regulations. Then in the boot, lift the cover of the load compartment floor. Also here disconnect the cable, but this time for the vehicle power supply battery. Everything is now ready, and now we come to the removal of the instrument panel. Proceed with the paneling of the A columns, both driver and passenger side. Take off the screw under the plastic cap of the airbag. Afterwards, the paneling is then quite easily unclipped and removed. Remove the airbag unit in the steering wheel and then the steering wheel itself. The steering column module must be removed. Loosen the screw in the underside of the module. An important tip, this screw is protected and cannot fall out. Now we come to the removal of the ornamental molding. You might have seen this already on a Kubis Direct, so we'll flash back. First, the left and right cover at the side of the instrument panel are unclipped, and the screw is removed on both sides. In the next step, with the plastic wedge, unclip the air vent in the middle above the molding. Under this is another screw, which also must be removed. And that was it, almost, since now the molding can be easily unclipped. Attention! The molding is especially thin and breakable, especially in the area behind the steering wheel. At this point, be especially careful. Separate the connections and take out the molding. In our film, we flash in the archive even further back. We show you now the removal of the instrument cluster. First, with the plastic wedge, unclip all covers of the instrument cluster. Then you can remove the dashboard switch group. Undo this screw. Separate the connection, and the first component is already loose. Proceed with the next screw, and the first of two connections of the instrument cluster. Unscrew the second screw at the top left, and the cluster can be easily removed. Also, don't forget here to separate the electric connections. We come now to the third and last flashback, and it shows you the removal of the command display. Just like the instrument cluster, the screens are removed with the plastic wedge. Remove the two screws then with a Torx screwdriver. When you've separated the connections at the back, the display can be removed. Okay, enough of rummaging around the Kubis Direct archive. Proceed with the removal of the dashboard. Now we focus in the middle area. With a plastic wedge, unclip the screen below the cover panel. Under it are 2 screws, and they must go. Next, open the middle cover. However, before you get to the next 2 screws, open the flaps inward, and under it are the screws. When the flaps are opened, the screws become visible. By the way, there are plenty more screws. Our tip is to use a screw gun for the removal of the instrument panel, or you could wind up with a few blisters. Now you can remove the panel cover. The screws of the command control unit become accessible. You must remove a total of 4 screws for the control unit, 2 on the right and 2 on the left. At the back of the device are several electric connections and a fiber optic cable. Separate all connections carefully because the sensitive fiber optic cables are easily damaged, for example if they're twisted. The transference of data is thereby impaired and can cause errors. Now these 2 screws in the middle area. Remove these. At the rear of the control unit EZS are 2 connections. You can easily separate the connections. And with this opportunity, also remove the interior temperature sensor. However, leave it connected to the power supply. Not, however, with the loudspeaker. That gets separated. Next, the covering and the footwell must be removed on the driver's and the passenger's side, and also the undercover. Remove then both screws at the side of the instrument panel and fuse box on the left and right side. To the lateral air nozzles, unclip the top grid cover and remove 3 screws. Don't forget the connection. Now there's enough room to get to the light switch from the back. However, in this area the connection of the parking brake is separated first, and then the connection of the light switch. That was it for the time being on the driver's side. We proceed now to the glove compartment. Open the compartment, remove the screen over the hex nut and remove the nut. So that it doesn't get lost, put it directly into the glove box and close it up again. Now above the glove compartment are 2 screws and at the side another 3. Everything must go. Before the glove compartment can be taken out, finally 1 more screw must go underneath. Now the glove box is free, connected only by the electric connections. When these are separated, the compartment can be put aside. On the passenger side, we're almost done. The instrument panel is connected only with the airbag on this side. First, unlock the protection flaps and then separate the electric connections in the airbag. Do just this on both sides of the airbag unit. On the right, you get access to the connection of the airbag through the opening of the side cover. And once more back to the driver's side. Here you must unscrew a few more screws, this time at the side of the instrument panel and another underneath in the area of the release for the hood. While you're there, there's another 2 screws below the instrument board. The very last screw is in the middle area between the instrument cluster and the command display. Done. Now the instrument panel can come out, which you can't do alone, however. Get help and go ahead with the removal as shown. Move carefully from left to right, best of all on command so nothing jams. Then the instrument panel can be pulled backwards. Rest the panel on the passenger seat, and then from the passenger side carefully out of the vehicle. An unusual sight. From the luxurious grace and elegance of the S-Class, there's not much left at the moment. No surprise, since all devices, moldings and screens are out of the vehicle.